I don't know what that other slide was, but it's always good to ask yourself, where is your faith? So the two scriptures that Carrie read this morning, so she's got a great voice. It's like a bedtime story. But each of them had someone in them who had been cast out, a man. Both of them cast out by fear. Elijah is afraid because he has killed 400 of Baal's prophets, and Jezebel, the king's foreign wife and a worshiper of Baal, is out to get him and tear him limb from limb. And even as angels of God pursue Elijah and keep him fed, he clings to his fear and imprisons himself in a cave. In Gerasene, the demoniac has been cast out by the fears of the community. Curiously, no one else suffers his fate. Is he possibly the only one possessed by demons? A legion of demons? Legion was not a Hebrew word or concept, since they didn't have a standing army. It would refer to the Roman army, and that's what people would hear when they heard legion, an occupying force. And a legion was somewhere around 5,600 soldiers. So how did one man get all these demons and the other Gerasenes remain uninhabited? The fact that this poor man is carrying thousands of demons would not be at all surprising to the Hebrew reader, nor, I suspect, to any of the Gentile readers in Gerasene, because scapegoating is what it was, and it's what was a time-honored practice. This poor guy had 5,600 demons or thereabouts inside him because he was carrying the demons for the whole community. I don't know about you. When I hear the word demon, this picture of a darkly red, impish, horn and pitchfork-carrying man, tiny man, I don't know why, but on my shoulder. It's that kind of thing that I hear and I picture. And I wonder if it's something like that the Gerasenes pictured when a neighbor had a seizure or a woman lost a baby. All the unexplained happenings were caused by demons. And the way to get rid of them was to pile them metaphorically and ritually on a goat and send it into the wilderness. Not just sent off into the wilderness, but taken to the wilderness and chained to a tree, where it would become prey to other animals. Problem solved. All the demons have been devoured. This man is serving as the goat for the Gerasene community. We, I don't think, would heap all our ills on a goat and take it into the fells to await a hungry cat. Yet we do have demons, and we do practice scapegoating. Everyone in this room has demons, and perhaps it isn't that tiny little devil sitting on your shoulder whose voice you're hearing. Maybe it's your own voice that you can't get free from. We don't think of ourselves as chained or hiding in a cave, but these demons inside us imprison us nonetheless. I still, you know how those things stick with you? I still cringe about a gaffe I made in camp in second grade. You would be amazed how often I think of it. There was a miscommunication I also had with a seminary professor where I ended up feeling like a fraud. And it still makes me feel like a fraud. even though it wasn't my fault, but I have to stop myself from explaining the whole thing to you now, but I still feel like I have to justify it. Something that came and went probably in her head for a moment. As you might guess, I have a long list of these, but they are not my demons. My demon is the inability to simply accept mistakes and missteps. The demon is the belief that there are only two choices in life, perfect or worthless. The demon has a very firm grip on me. I wish I could pile all of that on something and send it to its death. Somehow I can't imagine doing that to a goat, but no. As a people, scapegoating is a demon that has a hold of us. The scapegoating of immigrants is well known. We tell ourselves that they take away all our good jobs. They're responsible for the financial or emotional situation we find ourselves in. We scapegoat those who receive federal help and housing. Why, if they weren't, my life wouldn't stink or wouldn't be as bad. We scapegoat minorities who go to good schools. If it weren't for them, I would have been able to go to Harvard. And women get scapegoated everywhere, from the military to the locker room and, God willing, the White House. That why are they that they are not a man, and the fact that they are in power makes some men, feel like not a real man. The whole idea of scapegoating is taking that thing where we feel unworthy or uncertain, and instead of exploring it, we put it on to someone else. There are many different ways of scapegoating. We're talking here about a community scapegoating. There are scholars who see Jesus as supposedly being, or supposed to have been, the last scapegoat. But as we know, that did not work that way. Piling our disappointments and fears on the back of another race or nationality or gender keeps our demons alive and well. It stops us from examining the predicament we're in. It stops us from trying to understand our resentments. It stops us from trying to hear the truth of our own voice. Scapegoating stops us from acknowledging that perhaps it is how we think things about things which causes the resentment. Unexplored, creating a hierarchy of prestigious careers and letting that hierarchy assign our worth becomes a bigger and bigger demon, and the scapegoating that results compounds the problem inside you, because now you are full of hate and from the other demons that are whispering in our ears. We all have demons, everybody in this room. Those are not the same as faults. The demons are what we do with our faults, how we let them define or drive us. Maybe one of you or more is a workaholic, and maybe that's seen as a fault. But the demon is the belief that if you are not working, you are nobody. You are not good enough. My somewhat lazy lifestyle and careless eating habits are my faults. The conviction that my worth as a human being is directly related to my weight, my looks, is one of my demons. We all have them. And like the demoniac, we resist giving them up. Like Elijah, even when the means of taking a different path is put on his doorstep, he shrinks back in fear. When the Gerasenes come and see the man who had been possessed sitting and talking with Christ, why don't they line up for the same treatment? But they don't. They ask Jesus to leave. They're afraid. Who would they be without their demons? If I stopped working 18 hours a day, who would I tell myself I am? If one can be loved at any weight, then maybe the love I really need is my own. And this is where Jesus' casting out of demons differs from my sticking to a diet or you deciding to stop judging yourself for any number of things. Jesus is not a self-improvement plan. Jesus wants to cast out our demons so we may do what this now happy and free young man is doing, so that we may sit at Jesus' feet, embrace what God has done for us, and with our demons silenced and our heart full, we can return home and declare what God has done for us. Almost all, maybe I can say all of my demons stem from my giving the culture the power that I should give Jesus. It's popular culture where I learn to define myself. It's culture where we learn that there is such a thing as a human being who is better than another human being. But when we let Jesus define us instead of the culture's many influences, we do not waste our time assigning blame. We do not use our strength defending ourselves. Putting Jesus first is the only way that we can make a difference with our demons. When you focus on your demons, they are thrilled. When you focus on Jesus, the demons get squished out. When you look at yourself through the eyes of Christ, you do not see someone saying, "Are you going to eat that donut now?" I don't know whether that would be the case or not, but Jesus is not looking to find our faults. Jesus is looking to free us from our faults. And it's really easy for me to stand up here, as I do a lot, and say, you need more Jesus in your life. You need to go on vacation and sit there and let Jesus, into your heart and just drop your demons off on the edge of the water like they did with the pigs. But it isn't that simple. We know it isn't that simple. Elijah stood there waiting for God to come to him and bring something big and something dramatic. It was a fire, but he couldn't find God there. There's so much else going on. There was wind, such wind that the trees were being ripped from their roots. And Elijah couldn't find God because there was so much else going on. And then there was an earthquake. The whole earth shook. We can imagine God's hand just shaking up the earth a little bit. But God was not there. Elijah could not find him. And then there was a sound of sheer silence. And that's where Elijah found God. The angel tells Elijah, "Get up and eat, or you will not be able to take the journey before you. Get up and fill yourself with food so that you can do what God bids you to. This summer, I hope that you have a moment or two of sheer silence where you can begin to fill the space where your demons have moved out and Jesus has come in. You can't do it the other way around. You can't say, when I am, when I weigh 140, then I'll turn to Christ because I'll be good enough. We're never good enough for Christ, but we're always fully loved. And if we wait to do anything before we turn to Christ, we will never do it. Turn to Christ. Spend some time sitting at his feet, and he will make room for him in your heart and your eyes and your ears so that you will have the sustenance for the journey before you. Amen.